The doors that almost opened. The automatic doors at San Francisco International Airport slid open and closed every few seconds, letting in brief bursts of cool air from outside. Each time they opened, I caught a glimpse of people reuniting, hugs, laughter, relief. My mom and I rolled our suitcases behind us, the tiny plastic wheels rattling loudly against the polished floor. After hours on a plane returning from Nicaragua, I was exhausted. But that didn't matter. My dad and brother were waiting just beyond those doors, and all I could think about was finally seeing them. The airport buzzed with movement. Announcements echoed overhead, blending with the hum of conversations and the sharp clicks of heels against tile. The smell of coffee and fast food lingered in the air. Around us, families embraced, children ran ahead of their parents, and travelers rushed toward the exit. We had already passed through every checkpoint without any problems. Our passports had been checked. Our luggage had been cleared. Everything had gone exactly as expected. We were only a few steps away from the sliding doors. "Excuse me." The voice came from behind us, firmly controlled. We turned around. A uniformed officer from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection stood a few feet away. His posture was rigid, his expression unreadable. "Can I see your passports?" he asked. Without hesitation, my mom handed them over. Her movements were calm, practiced. I stood quietly beside her, assuming this was just another routine check. Airports are full of security. That wasn't unusual. At least that's what I thought at first. The officer flipped through the pages slowly, his eyes scanning every detail. "Where are you coming from?" he asked. "Nicaragua," my mom replied evenly. "What were you doing there?" "Visiting family." Her voice remained steady, but I noticed the slight tightening of her grip on the handle of her suitcase. It was small, almost unnoticeable, but I saw it. The officer nodded but didn't look convinced. "What's your relationship to each other?" I blinked, caught off guard. "She's my mom," I said. He looked down at our passports, then back at us. "Why do you have different last names?" For a moment I hesitated. The question felt strange, like something that I had never needed to explain before. "My mom kept her last name when she got married," I said. "She didn't change it." The officer paused. The silence stretched longer than before. Something shifted. The questions didn't feel routine anymore. They felt like they were searching for something wrong. "What's in your luggage?" he asked. "Clothes, souvenirs, gifts for family," my mom answered. Her voice was still calm but softer now. Around us, people continued walking past. Suitcases rolled across the floor. Conversations carried on like nothing was happening. I glanced towards the doors. Another family walked straight through them. No one stopped them. No one questioned them. My chest tightened. We were so close, just a few steps away from being outside, from seeing my dad and brother. I imagined them waiting near the curb, scanning the crowd for us. But we were still standing there, answering questions. The officer looked down at our passports one last time, then handed them back, and said almost casually, "You need to get that fixed." He nodded slightly toward the passports, toward our last names. For a moment I didn't move. The words hung in the air, heavier than anything he had asked before. Fixed? I felt heat rise to my face, a mix of confusion and something deeper, something sharper. There was nothing wrong, nothing to fix. I looked at my mom. Her expression remained composed, but her jaw had tightened slightly. She didn't say anything. Instead, she took the passports, gave a small nod, and turned toward the exit. We walked away in silence. The sliding doors opened in front of us. Cool air rushed in as we stepped outside. And just like that, everything shifted. My brother waved the moment he saw us. My dad smiled, relief clear on his face. I rushed toward them, wrapping my arms around them, holding on to that moment like it could erase everything that had just happened. For a second, it worked. The tension faded, but not completely. As we loaded our suitcases into the car, I stayed quiet, replaying the moment over and over in my head. You need to get that fixed. I glanced at my mom as she closed the trunk. Did that bother you? I asked quietly. She paused for a moment before answering. Not anymore, she said. I frowned slightly. What do you mean? She looked at me, her expression softer now. It used to, she admitted, when people didn't understand, when they questioned things they didn't need to question. She shrugged lightly. But I learned something a long time ago. Not everyone will understand your story, and that's okay. Her words settled over me, but the feeling in my chest didn't fully go away, because I understand now. That moment wasn't just about passports or last names. It wasn't about being seen as something that didn't quite fit. Growing up as a daughter of immigrants, I had experienced moments like that before, moments where people made assumptions about who I was or where I came from, but this felt different. This felt official, like our identity had been questioned by someone who had the authority to decide whether we belonged or not. To that officer, our different last names looked like a problem, something suspicious, something that needed to be fixed. But to me, our names told a story. They carry different cultures, different histories, and the sacrifices my parents made to build a life here. They represented everything that made our family whole. There was nothing broken about that. Our family didn't need fixing. Our story didn't need fixing either. That moment at the airport stayed with me, not because of how long it lasted, but because of what it revealed. How quickly people can judge what they don't understand. How easily something meaningful can be reduced to something questionable. But it almost reminded me of something more important. Identity isn't defined what's written inside a passport. It's shaped by where we come from, what we carry with us, and the people who stand beside us. Some people may question it, some people may not understand it, but that doesn't mean it's something that needs to be changed. And sometimes the most important thing you can do is keep walking forward right through the doors that were almost close to you.